And we're starting today with Raw, as Sami Zayn kicked off this week's show by addressing the elephant in the room, namely Kevin Owens being traded to SmackDown for Jey Uso. Zayn took the positive route, saying that he would turn the dismantling of his team with Owens into an opportunity to prove he is a main event level superstar. Sami discussed his trepidation about Owens leaving and wasn't sure what to think of Jey, but the Judgment Day would then interrupt, and it wasn't long before a beatdown ensued. Main event Jey would then make the save, and this segment did little other than tease tension between Sami and Jey. Sami gave no hint that he'd be involved in the night's main event, but did express a desire to face a World Heavyweight Championship competitor, which could happen after Crown Jewel. Whether it's Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre who holds the title after that show, Zayn would absolutely deliver as a challenger, as his performances against Roman Reigns this year have proven. Raw's opener could have been hotter, but the segment was mostly solid work from all involved, with Zayn once again shining under the spotlight. In the main event of Raw, main event Jey Uso was in action, but his 10th reign as a tag team champion, and first without his brother Jimmy, proved to be his shortest one. Raw's main event saw Jey and Cody Rhodes put their titles on the line against Finn Balor and Damian Priest of the Judgment Day, but it was a SmackDown superstar who made the difference. In the closing moments, a super kick from Jey's brother Jimmy would assist Finn Balor in getting the win, ending Jey and Cody's reign after just 10 days since winning the gold at Fastlane. The crowd reaction only highlighted how shocking this ending to Raw was, as Jey has been a favorite on Raw, and his alliance with Rhodes has seemingly taken him to the next level. If Raw in 2023 has proven one thing, it's that you can't escape the Judgment Day, and even Sami Zayn interfering to take out Dominic Mysterio would prove to be futile. Jimmy had promised to Roman Reigns that he would handle Cody and Jey as champions, and to his credit, Jimmy delivered exactly what he vowed to his tribal chief. This is obviously leading up to a Jimmy vs. Jey showdown, presumably at WrestleMania, but it also keeps Cody Rhodes directly involved with the Bloodline, with a match expected with Reigns in Philly. Raw went off the air with the Judgment Day standing tall once more, and with Sami Zayn failing to stop the group, and with the faces now missing Kevin Owens, it'll be interesting to see what's to come beginning next week. What did you think of the title change? Are you a fan, or did it come too soon? Let us know in the comments. While some fans will have been shocked by the title change that closed out this week's Raw, those who were watching the commercials during Raw may not have been too surprised. During one advertisement for an upcoming episode of SmackDown, a title match was promoted featuring Finn Balor and Damian Priest defending their gold against the New Day. Given that this commercial aired before the main event, WWE spoiled the title change in the main event, and have seemingly spoiled that the New Day will beat Alpha Academy next week. It'd certainly be strange if the New Day lost and were rewarded with a tag title shot, so expect Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods to stand tall on next week's show. Fans were understandably hyped for this week's season premiere of Raw, but nothing could have prepared the WWE Universe for the intense promo between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Rollins didn't hold back, calling out McIntyre for not helping him when the Judgment Day jumped him, and only decided to help once the Money in the Bank briefcase was part of the equation. As Rollins spoke about his Fastlane win and upcoming Crown Jewel match, McIntyre arrived, and the Visionary had something to show the Scotsman. On the Titantron, Rollins showed an image of McIntyre speaking with Rhea Ripley and insinuated that Drew and Rhea have something going on. This prompted the hilarious line from McIntyre that, "I ain't a thirsty creep like Jey Uso," a nod to Jey hitting on Ripley on both WWE TV and online. McIntyre also said that Ripley approached him, not the other way around, but didn't disclose why he spoke with a member of the faction he's been against. Referring to his 2 title reigns, McIntyre also plans to capture lightning in a bottle a 3rd time at Crown Jewel, saying Seth would have to reinvent himself after losing the title. The rest of the promo, which didn't see a fight ensue, was great, as Rollins told McIntyre to let go of what happened with the Bloodline, something Drew has struggled to do. McIntyre said he was the focal point when WWE needed a face during the pandemic, and it isn't easy for him to get over that. A heated promo that continued to tease a McIntyre heel turn, this segment also gave emphasis for the feud and helped set up what will be a fantastic title match between 2 great workers. Later in the show, McIntyre took a shot at Sami Zayn for never being world champion and added to the burn by saying Sami will never win the big one. Did WWE hint that Zayn would interfere in the World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth Rollins and the Scottish Warrior at Crown Jewel and cost Drew his opportunity? If so, that could start a feud with McIntyre and Zayn himself, and a fight to see who is a worthy challenger for the gold. Or did this segment continue to tease a heel turn for Drew that'll be completed at Crown Jewel with the crowning of a new world champion? If so, Rollins could turn a loss into an opportunity to chase the title for a few months, freshening up the top of the Raw card. A lot of questions were raised with this segment, but what did you think of this war of words? Let us know down in the comments. If Shinsuke Nakamura's past was anything to go by, his loss to World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins should have seen the Japanese star fall back into obscurity and become rarely seen on TV. In this Triple H-led creative regime though, Nakamura has remained a force to be reckoned with and is proving to be just as dangerous now as he was when he was feuding with Rollins. On Raw, Rollins dispatched of Ricochet in a competitive Falls Count Anywhere match which featured some cool spots, including a jaw-dropping shooting star press. Even in defeat, Ricochet looked like a contender himself, but the real highlight was Nakamura, whose win was a necessity to keep him strong at a time Raw needs quality heels. During a recent episode of Raw, Shinsuke Nakamura delivered a GTS to Ricochet, and while it's since come out that WWE and CM Punk aren't in negotiations, the USA Network has continued to tease his return. When WWE posted a video of Nakamura hitting the move on its social media platforms, the USA Network responded on Instagram simply saying, "Best in the world," as the network clearly wants fans thinking of the former AEW star. Now, recent reports have stated that WWE and Randy Orton are planning on the Viper being back in time for this year's Survivor Series, which will take place next month in Chicago, Illinois. In an update, Fightful Select has revealed that Triple H's creative team do indeed want Orton back for the show, but there's still questions as to when exactly he'll be back. The current debate backstage is whether Orton will return shortly before Survivor Series, possibly on the Go Home episode of Raw or SmackDown, or whether his comeback should be on the show itself. Orton's return has been a long time coming for fans, as he hasn't competed since May of last year, and for a time, it looked like his in-ring career was over. All we know now is if his physical condition is right, Orton is mere weeks away from his return. But when exactly do you think Orton's comeback should happen? Let us know in the comments below. Back to Raw, and Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley faced off in a match less about settling their differences and more about spotlighting the Raw women's division and their array of talented contenders. Zoe Starks, Nia Jax, and Raquel Rodriguez all made their presence felt, with Starks standing out as a woman who could take out anyone and capture gold. The match saw Ripley get the DQ win after Stark laid out the champ, and this was Triple H and his team's latest effort to get as many women on the show after weeks of inconsistency. The execution may be somewhat sloppy, but it's a step in the right direction after a year of subpar storytelling involving one of the most talented divisions in WWE today. After the match, Ripley demanded that Raw GM Adam Pearce get a handle on things, and Pearce had an announcement in response, a 5-way match at Crown Jewel for Ripley's women's title. Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark will all have their shot at the title, as the odds may prove to be too much for Ripley on November 4th in Riyadh. Are you excited about this direction for the women of Raw? And who will you be rooting for at Crown Jewel? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. During a backstage segment, women's tag champions Chelsea Green and Piper Niven confronted Natalya, setting up a match between Niven and Natalya. During Natalya's entrance, one young fan got up close and personal with her, as when Natalya gave her sunglasses to a different fan, this young fan hugged Natalya closely and grabbed her multiple times, including a point where they seemingly copped a feel of the Queen of Hearts. On Twitter, fans had a field day with the interaction, with one stating that "Bro took his chance," and this is the first time something like this has happened to Natalya. We'll have to see if Natalya comments on this happening during WWE Raw this week, as it was a big night for that young fan, whether he meant to draw this attention or not. A competitive back-and-forth match concluded with Niven getting the win, and a post-match attack on Natalya brought out Tegan Nox, who made the save for the surefire future Hall of Famer. It's refreshing to see even a fraction of effort put into the women's tag titles, as Niven and Green are too talented to go underutilized, and Natalya deserves something after her service to WWE. Knox may be the most misused superstar on any WWE roster today, but Triple H is hoping to change that by bringing these four together for a series of quality tag matches for the Cursed Tag Titles. Curse or no curse, this feud will be more than anyone had done for the women's tag division outside of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler's recent, but very brief, title run. Knox had a favorable response from the fans who clearly remembered her impressive showdown with Becky Lynch, and WWE should look to build on this by letting fans invest in her and Natalya. It was 2 weeks ago that Johnny Gargano returned and reunited with Tommaso Ciampa, and this week's Raw saw the pair attacked by Imperium's Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. Therefore, on this week's show, Gargano faced Kaiser in singles action, and with Ciampa not being cleared for the show as explained on commentary, Imperium had the numbers advantage. With Vinci's interference, it'd be Kaiser who secured the win, and it was odd to see Gargano lose his first match on Raw in over 5 months. The crowd had a disappointing lack of reaction for Gargano, which is an indictment of how he's been utilized, or not, since returning to WWE programming. The match continues the idea that Imperium will always triumph as long as Gargano and Ciampa are apart, making their reunion as DIY just as much a necessity as something they want to do. There was some tension between Kaiser and Vinci at ringside at one point, and given last week's video package highlighting Kaiser, it appears a split could be in the works at some point. If WWE wants to push Kaiser as a single star, splitting from Vinci is a necessity, and we may have already begun seeing teases of that split on TV. For 494 days, Gunther has dominated as Intercontinental Champion, the longest reign in the title's history, as was made clear just a few weeks ago on Raw. On this week's Raw, Gunther faced Big Bronson Reed, who has also had his own path of destruction, which included beating Ricochet and Chad Gable last week to earn the title shot. This IC title match would no doubt have pleased Big E, as it featured big meaty men slapping meat, which only ended with Gunther hitting a powerbomb on the 330-pounder to score the win. The match was every bit the grueling physical battle fans hoped for, if not more, as Gunther welted the chest of Reed, who in return nearly dethroned the Austrian on more than one occasion. Reed looked great, and Gunther continues to be the best active champion in wrestling. And as we draw closer to 500 days, expect more hard-hitting matches from the seemingly unbeatable star. This week's Raw also saw WWE make plans for next week, as after a backstage segment with the New Day and Alpha Academy, the first-time match was booked for next week. WWE also confirmed NXT Women's Champion Becky Lynch versus Indy Hartwell for next week's Raw, while Drew McIntyre will face Sami Zayn. It was also confirmed that this Friday's SmackDown will see Logan Paul return and confront Rey Mysterio, with many expecting a US title match for Crown Jewel to be announced in time. But what did you think of this week's Raw? Was it a fitting season premiere for WWE's longest-running show? Let us know in the comments. It was in May of last year that Mercedes Moné and Trinity walked out of WWE, and since then, the two have kept quiet about the exact reasons for their departure. It had been reported by some that the two were frustrated with the creative direction WWE had planned, but whatever the reason is, Moné isn't talking about it at this time. When a fan asked about WWE's creative being the reason she walked out, the clearly irritated Moné sarcastically said, "That's what I read," adding a ha-ha and no for good measure. When the fan at New York Comic Con asked what the reason was, Moné, growing even more annoyed, asked, "Why would I tell you?" and pointed out that she is working on a book that may explain more. The fan said he'd buy the book, and Moné would add that the fan should keep reading your fiction books about her WWE exit. Moné may have dressed like the fun-loving Jessie from Toy Story, but she was clearly furious about the interaction, as if she does reveal more about her final days in WWE, it'll be when she feels ready to do so. Now, one thing that many fans didn't appear happy about during the season premiere of WWE Raw was the return of Jinder Mahal and Indus Sher. As part of a backstage segment with Adam Pearce, Mahal made it clear that he needed to talk to the new Raw general manager. It's currently unknown what he needed to talk about, but after being absent from TV for several months, fans didn't appear happy to see him make his return. The arena was filled with boos, whilst the following messages have been shared on Twitter. Some fans even suggested that they thought Jinder Mahal had already left WWE since he hadn't been on TV for a while. That said, there was a pitch that maybe Jinder and his stable were heading over to SmackDown. Are you happy to see the return of Jinder Mahal this week on Raw? Share your thoughts and predictions in the comments section below. Voice of Monday Night Raw, Michael Cole was absent from commentary this week, which surprised a lot of fans. This is allegedly just the third WWE show Cole has missed since he became a regular on commentary over 2 decades ago. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, the legendary announcement had requested this week off for a personal obligation a while back. His absence had been planned for a few weeks, with Kevin Patrick always slated to step in. While the reason for Michael Cole's request wasn't specified, it isn't medical related. Mike Johnson said, "We're told that Michael Cole had requested for this week off some time ago due to a personal commitment, and it just happened to land on what was later scheduled to be the Raw season premiere. It is not an illness or anything similar." This means that Cole is set to miss the October 20th episode of WWE SmackDown, with Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves likely operating as a duo for the show. In a recent tweet, Tony Khan claimed that when his mother was facing a life-threatening issue last year, AEW stars contacted him, saying WWE had tried to force them to break their contracts. Khan said that having to deal with this situation while at his mother's hospital bedside was when the wrestling business became personal, and who exactly were WWE allegedly speaking with? As Fightful Select pointed out, Swerve Strickland has said in the past that WWE reached out to him, but that he expressed no interest in returning as part of Hit Row. Fightful also added that WWE and William Regal spoke during this time, which would prove to be successful for WWE, as Regal was allowed out of his AEW contract by Khan himself. Khan's worrying situation with his mother influenced his decision to let Regal go, as the Brit wanted to spend more time with his son, NXT's Charlie Dempsey, to which Khan agreed. Tony Khan has had plenty to say since last week's Tuesday Night War, with the majority of his comments being about his competition, and time will tell what Khan says next now that business has become personal. At AEW Wrestle Dream, Sammy Guevara suffered a concussion which has kept him out of action, but the Spanish God is eager to make a return as soon as he can. On Wrestling Observer Radio, it was stated that Guevara is recovering well and wants to be back by this Wednesday's Dynamite, but whether that'll be the case remains to be seen. If you've seen Jon Moxley in AEW, you'll know he has a tendency to blade, and now those at AEW's gaming department have poked fun at this trope. Sharing a custom arena from Fight Forever covered in blood, they said that this was how a ring looks after just 1 minute of a Moxley match, and while that may be an exaggeration, it's not exactly a big one. Now, Roman Reigns returned to SmackDown last week, and now he decided to fire back at a fan who claimed all he does is go on vacations. Prior to his return on SmackDown, Roman Reigns met a young fan via Make-A-Wish who asked Reigns to send a message to TikTok user Theory Pill, who claimed all Reigns does is go on vacations. Reigns sent a strongly worded message to the user, making it clear that he works hard training for his matches. He said,
"This for you, dude. Hey, Theory Pill, I don't know who you are, but my buddy does. Says you've been running your mouth, saying I've been on the job, that I've been on vacation, doing whatever you think I've been doing. But that's the thing, you don't know what I've been doing. You want to know what I've been doing? I've been in the lab, the movement lab, training my ass off for this night here in Tulsa, because we're going to wreck shop. And guess what? When we're done..."
What's your view on what Reigns said? Are you excited for his feud with LA Knight? Let us know in the comments below. With his imposing presence and impressive performances, it's no secret that WWE has big plans for this rising star. But behind his tough exterior, Solo Sikoa recently revealed a lighter side of himself that fans can't get enough of: his dance moves. Recent footage that surfaced shows Sikoa hitting the beach and grooving to the music. It's a delightful sight to see the fierce WWE superstar enjoying himself and showcasing some slick dance moves. Fans couldn't help but appreciate this unexpected glimpse into the more lighthearted side of the superstar. More from Raw as Becky Lynch had a backstage segment with Adam Pearce on the show, and Raw's new GM set up an NXT Women's title defense for next week. Lynch will defend her gold against Indy Hartwell, who had to vacate the title when she was drafted to Raw earlier this year, and Xia Li would also confront Lynch and ask for a title shot. It seemed everyone wanted the man's attention, as after the title match with Hartwell was set, Jade Cargill appeared and had a face-to-face with Lynch, setting up a potential feud down the line. Cargill was then left alone with Pearce, who commented on Cargill's blue coat, saying that they need to get her something in red. Cargill showed up at last week's Stacked NXT and had a confrontation with Charlotte Flair during last week's SmackDown, and now with Jade on Raw, it remains to be seen which brand she'll be on. The decision as to her brand has already been made, but Cargill refused to give any details, but this may not be the last time we see the former AEW TBS champion on Monday nights. And we're ending with Catalina Garcia, as when she was part of NXT, she learned under the tutelage of Triple H, and while it's been nearly 2 years since her WWE release, she hasn't forgotten about the game. In a recent match for CMLL, Catalina busted out the pedigree and even referenced Triple H in a caption online, proving that the use of his move was no mere coincidence.